so fast, we'll teach you all you wanna know. Come with us, come with us.
Story time with Siziba.
Once upon a time, in the deepest southernmost part of the African sun, there was a land called Zimbabwe. In that land there was a chiefdom where two twin brothers, Nyaminyami and Busongo, were born to Chiefs Nyaminyami and Queen Chimvula of the Tonga people. Nyaminyami was the youngest, and so was the apple of his mother's eye, whereas Busongo was the chief's heir and favorite. The chief always took Busongo with him everywhere he went. Queen Chimvula, on the other hand, always let Nyaminyami carry hendombonda pipe, which in the Tonga custom is a big smoking pipe used by women only. Ever since the princes were young, Nyaminyami was always envious and jealous of Busongo, to the extent that he killed his brother whilst they had gone fishing on the great river by drowning him. Nyaminyami then went back to his people and lied that his brother had been taken by a big river monster. Nyaminyami, the chief, became very sad and sick. A search party was sent to the river, but alas, the young prince's remains were never found. Chief Nyaminyami did not take the news very well and so died of heartbreak. Queen Chimvula also died at the shock of losing her husband, as she had not suspected things would turn out that bad. Drums were sounded to alert everyone that 3 members of the royal family had died. The Tonga people mourned their chief, queen, and prince. After ceremonies and customs were made, Nyaminyami succeeded his father and became the new chief of the Tonga people. The ancestors, who are said to be watching over the land and its people, became very angry and changed the young Prince Busongo into a half-fish, half-snake, so that he could stay in the river, which was the Tonga people's source of livelihood, as they got water and fish from it. Prince Busongo's rebirth saw the ancestors giving him a new name, Nyaminyami, which means the river god. As destiny can never be changed, the ancestors made sure that even as a fish snake, Busongo would rule the Tonga people. Nyaminyami, who was a ruthless, evil and conceited ruler, also bowed down to his brother to ask for food, because the ancestors made sure that all sorts of different disasters affected the Tonga people as a way of punishment to their new ruler. Nyaminyami's hatred for Busongo never ended after he took his life. He hated him even when he was dead. With instructions from the ancestors, the spirit mediums cautioned Nyaminyami that he had to try and appease the ancestors by accepting Nyaminyami to become a symbol of the Tonga, and great festivals be made in honor of Nyaminyami. Whenever the Tonga did something wrong, the ancestors would show their wrath by sending Nyaminyami to cause floods and drought. Years passed by, and one day in a neighboring chiefdom, a beautiful maiden from the basket maker's household emerged. Her name was Zambezi. Her beauty was so radiant that people came from far and wide to see her. Every woman envied her, and every mother wanted their daughters to be just like her. When Zambezi came of age, many men, both young and old, began knocking at her father's door, but she turned all of them down because she wanted to marry for love. Even Nyaminyami heard of this rare beauty and wanted to marry her as one of his wives, but again, Zambezi turned him down. One day when Zambezi was by the riverside, collecting reeds to make baskets like she had always done, she wandered deeper into the river than she seldom did. It is then that Zambezi thought she felt there was a presence watching her. Then through the corner of her eyes, she saw what looked like eyes looking at her. The eyes started shining. Zambezi became afraid, and she ran away as fast as her legs could carry her. The next day, her father sent Zambezi to gather some more reeds, and even though she was afraid and remembered tales about a monster that had taken the life of a neighboring prince, she went back. After she went and saw nothing, Zambezi continued to gather her reeds. As she became engrossed in her work, Zambezi began to sing an old song that her mother used to sing to her. Nyaminyami, who had been asleep, heard the song. He forgot what and where he was and began to sing along. When Zambezi heard the beautiful voice, she turned to see who the voice belonged to. Zambezi was shocked with what she saw. Zambezi started screaming and ran away for dear life. In her confusion, she ran towards the opposite direction from home and ran straight into a strange-looking old man. His sight alone made her faint. Zambezi awoke to find herself in a strange smoke-filled shack with the old man sitting and watching her. She began to scream, but the old man called her by her name and said he had been wondering when she would come because he had seen her in a dream many years ago. Zambezi was shocked at all that the old man told her. The old man then mixed some herbs to protect her, as she was embarking on this great job that the ancestors had for her. He then told her to meet her the next day by the riverside before the sun rose. The old man cautioned Zambezi never to tell anyone of what she had seen or all that he had told her, for all would reveal itself in good time. The next day, Zambezi left her father's home before anyone else was awake. As soon as she approached the great river, she saw the old man standing next to a fire. Even though she was afraid, the old man's being there convinced her that she was not losing her mind and was safe. The old man smeared Zambezi with some strange oils and ointments, all the while making chants. All of a sudden, the ground started shaking and a bright light appeared on the river. The old man started clapping his hands and motioned Zambezi to do the same. He started chanting praises, and what Zambezi saw made her heart skip a beat. She had never seen a creature like the one she saw before her. The legends Zambezi had heard growing up about the river monster were true. A creature half fish, half snake was on the surface. Its eyes shone like a bright light. Its body was as black as the night and very slimy and shiny. The fish snake began to speak in a majestic voice of a man, asking them who dared to wake Nyaminyami. The old man genuflected as a sign of respect and moved closer to the surface and called the creature by its name, Busongo, chanting his praises and totems. At that moment, the fish snake began shaking the waters violently because it was angry, belching like a volcano. Smoke came out of Nyaminyami's mouth, and his words crackled like thunder. He said he had taken a new name, Nyaminyami, because to him Busongo was in the past. Zambezi shivered because she was afraid and stayed back. The old man coaxed Zambezi to sing the song she had sang in his dream. As if Zambezi knew which song he was talking about, she started singing softly, a song in the language of Tonga. Nyaminyami calmed down and joined her in singing that beautiful song. Nyaminyami turned and started swimming towards shore. When he got there, he saw the beautiful face of Zambezi. They both stopped singing and looked at each other. A loud thunder from a cloudless sky was heard, followed by complete darkness for a split second. Out of the blue, a most handsome, strong man was lying beside Zambezi. Nyaminyami awoke and saw that he was transformed to a human being again. He could not believe it. At that moment, Zambezi knew that the ancestors indeed had a great purpose for her because of what she had just witnessed. The old man explained that his being human was only temporary, as the ancestors wanted Nyaminyami to avenge himself and also to deliver his people from the ruthless iron rule of his brother. But first, the old man had to prepare Busongo because Chiamuluvu had associated himself with evil, so it would not be easy to defeat him. One of Chiamuluvu's spies, Kimbi, who had been following Zambezi to the river, witnessed her and Busongo spending time together. Kimbi ran as fast as he could to tell the chief of what he had seen. Chiamuluvu did not believe Kimbi, for he had killed his brother with his own hands, and so he ordered the spy to be killed. Chiamuluvu then ordered his warriors to bring Zambezi to him for questioning. The warriors went to Zambezi's father's home and forcefully took her to the chief. When Zambezi got there, she refused to have anything to do with Nyaminyami because she knew all that he had done to Busongo, and she swore that she was already in love with Busongo. Nyaminyami became furious and nevertheless decided to throw a wedding feast to marry Zambezi by force. Busongo, who by now also had strong feelings for Zambezi, became angry at his brother and so went to his father's homestead to go and confront Nyaminyami and rescue his love, as well as to avenge himself. When Busongo got there, the chief at first thought he was imagining his brother's likeness, until Busongo started talking to him. Busongo challenged Nyaminyami to a duel, and all who were at the feast were confused to see Nyaminyami speak to himself. As soon as Nyaminyami chased Busongo to the big river, they began to fight. Everyone who came to see what Nyaminyami was doing was shocked with what they saw and heard. There was Busongo, who they knew to have been dead, suddenly standing in front of Nyaminyami. They were shocked to hear Nyaminyami admitting to having killed his brother. Busongo had powers bestowed upon him by the ancestors of the Tonga, and Nyaminyami had evil and his hatred. But as good always prevails against evil, justice had to be met. Nyaminyami was defeated, and the ancestors were appeased by his blood, and good prevailed upon the Tonga people yet again. But as the old man had explained how the dead could never live in the land of the living, Busongo had to return to the big river, where he was to continue watching over his people and providing for them as Nyaminyami. Zambezi, who had been present like everyone else to watch the duel, asked the old man to plead with the ancestors to let her go with Nyaminyami, because without him, she would never be happy. At first, Busongo was not happy about the idea. But when he saw that Zambezi truly loved him, he asked to be joined with her as man and wife, so that she would help him watch over their people. The old man again talked to the ancestors, and Busongo and Zambezi became one. And when the moment came for Busongo to transform back into Nyaminyami, he held hands with his young bride, and they entered the water. The ground shook, and there was thunder, as the people of the Tonga tribe sang a song in tribute to their ruler, Nyaminyami, and his bride Zambezi. As the sun set, what at first was 2 human forms changed into 2 snakes. One was half fish, half snake, and the other a beautiful water snake, as they swam into the horizon. Zambezi's sacrifice and courage was recognized by the Tonga, and in honor of her selfless act and love for their prince, they named the great river Zambezi. Years passed by, and the people of the Tonga lived in peace and harmony, with Nyaminyami and his Zambezi watching over them. Generations came and went. Some of the younger generation began to lose touch with their traditions. They embraced new cultures and ideas. The older generation still safeguarded their traditions and values. Busongo and Zambezi became a story, and Nyaminyami a myth, because he really appeared. One day, new people with skin as white as milk came and started to share their ideas and began to live not so far from the Tonga. They spoke of creating a dam wall in the Zambezi River. But for them to do that, the Tonga people had to move further from the river so that when the rains came, they would not be in danger of floods. The elders refused because that land had been in the Tonga tribe and families for generations. The land had memories and defined them as a people. The man with milky white skin convinced the younger generation and most of the elders that the new dam wall would benefit not only the Tonga, but all the other tribes that lived far and near. The Tonga reluctantly agreed and packed up everything and moved to new lands further from the Zambezi River. The men with the milky white skin came with their machines and started building a dam wall in a place where there were many rocks. The place where the dam wall would be found was given the name Lake Kariba, from the Tonga word Kariba, which means trap. Zambezi, Nyaminyami's wife, who had swum over to her father's side of the river to visit her people, found that when she was going back home to her husband, she could not pass to the other side. The dam wall would not let her pass, so she started crying out and singing his song to call Nyaminyami. When Nyaminyami heard her, he became worried and swam towards Zambezi's voice. When he also could not pass, he became angry and began to hit the dam wall with his big and powerful body, but all that was in vain. Nyaminyami only managed to shake the whole valley and bridge, and most of the men working on constructing the dam wall fell into the water. Not only were some of the lives of the Batonga who had been employed to help build the dam wall taken, a few of the lives of the men with milky white skin who were part of the builders were also lost. The Batonga were devastated and afraid as they begged Nyaminyami to stop his anger. Nyaminyami would not listen and continued to shake the bridge. More lives were lost again as Nyaminyami was trying in desperation to break down the barrier and reach his wife. Zambezi, now a mother, remembered what the old man had told her those many years ago, that loving Nyaminyami would come with a lot of sacrifices. Zambezi asked Nyaminyami to stop all the anger and suggested that whenever he missed her, all he had to do was sing, and she would come to the other side of the dam wall and sing with him. And that even though she would never be with him again physically, she would be with him in song and spirit. After a while, Zambezi got through to Nyaminyami. The dam wall still stands even to this day, but legend has it that Nyaminyami is still looking for a way to reach his love. And sometimes, the wall and the valley experience mild tremors that science can never explain even if they tried. Nyaminyami still misses his Zambezi, and maybe one day, the good faith of the ancestors will shine upon him and the barrier will be broken.